There are places the world tries to forget, villages swallowed by forests, roads erased by time, names buried beneath centuries of silence. But some places refuse to die. They linger like scars upon reality, waiting, watching, calling. Blackthorn Hollow was one of those places, and this is the story of how I found it. My name is Eleanor Ward. In the autumn of 1897, I was 28 years old. By winter, I would no longer belong to the world I knew. The plague had already consumed half of the countryside. Entire towns disappeared. Doctors exhausted every remedy. Priests begged God and heaven for mercy. Neither found answers. My younger sister Abigail was among the dead. For 3 weeks, I sat beside her bed, listening to her cough blood into white linen, watching her fade, watching her disappear. The night she died, she pressed a letter into my hand, a letter written by a traveler she had met months earlier. Inside was a single sentence: "Find the town where blood heals all things." After the funeral, I packed my belongings, sold nearly everything I owned, and followed the rumor. The journey lasted nearly a month. The deeper I traveled, the stranger the stories became. People spoke of silver-dyed children, hunters carrying impossible weapons, and bells that rang beneath the earth. Most dismissed these tales as madness. I wasn't so certain. Grief has a way of making impossible things seem reasonable, so I kept walking. The forest appeared on the 28th day. Ancient trees towered overhead like black cathedral pillars. Fog drifted beneath their roots. The air felt wrong, heavy, as though the woods themselves were holding their breath. Hours passed. Then I heard it. A bell. Dong. A single note rolled through the darkness. Deep, ancient, powerful enough to vibrate through my ribs. Then another. Dong. Closer this time. Waiting. Calling. Inviting. Near midnight, I saw the town. Blackthorn Hollow emerged from the mist like a nightmare rising from deep water. Massive Gothic cathedrals pierced the clouds. Stone bridges connected impossible towers. Lantern lights glowed beneath stained glass windows. Everything seemed both beautiful and rotten, alive and dead, dreaming and awake. The town felt less like a place and more like a memory that refused to fade. At the gate stood hunters, tall figures dressed in long black coats, silver masks concealing their faces. Each carried strange weapons: axes folded into blades, rifles hidden within hammers, swords covered in symbols that seemed to move when I wasn't looking directly at them. One hunter approached, a woman. Her silver eyes gleamed beneath her hood. She studied me carefully, then nodded. "You're late." But before I could ask what she meant, she stepped aside. The gates opened, and Blackthorn Hollow welcomed me inside. The people were unlike anyone I had ever met. Polite, soft-spoken, yet there was something unsettling beneath their smiles. Everyone seemed healthy, perfectly healthy. Not a single sign of disease, not a single cough, not a single wound. The miracle was real. The blood existed. They called it sacred blood, a gift from beings known only as the choir above. The blood healed everything: broken bones, blindness, plague, even death itself, according to some. I should have been relieved. Instead, I felt afraid. The first transformation happened 3 nights later. A merchant collapsed in the marketplace. People rushed to help him. Then his screams began. His bones cracked, his fingers stretched into claws, his jaw split open. Within seconds, he had become something no longer human. A beast. Hungry, violent, monstrous. The hunters killed him before he could harm anyone. The townsfolk barely reacted, as though they had seen it before. Because They had. That night I learned the truth. The blood healed, but healing comes with a cost. Those who consumed too many eventually changed. Some became beasts, others became something far worse. Yet, the citizens continued drinking. They called it ascension, a sacred evolution, a path towards divinity. Then the bells began to ring. Every bell in Blackthorn Hollow answered at once. The sound shook the city. Windows shattered, statues cracked. The sky itself seemed to tremble. People flooded into the streets. Some prayed, some screamed, others laughed. Blood streamed from their eyes, their ears, their mouths, and then they changed. The city became a slaughterhouse. Beasts rampaged through crowded avenues. Hunters fought desperately against former friends and family. The streets ran red. Cathedrals burned. The fog thickened, and through it all, the bells continued ringing. I followed the sound to the Grand Bastilla, the largest structure in Blackthorn Hollow, a cathedral so enormous it seemed impossible. Inside, hidden beneath the altar, I discovered a spiral staircase. It descended far below the city, far below the earth, far below reason. I lit my lantern and began the descent. The staircase continued for hours. Eventually, it opened into a cavern larger than the town itself. At first, I believed I was looking at a black sea. Then the sea moved, the surface rippled, and an eye opened. A single eye, larger than a cathedral, silver, ancient, watching, waiting, dreaming. My mind struggled to understand what I was seeing. The creature was not a god, not a demon, not an animal. It was something older, a being from before history, before language, before humanity. A thing so vast that reality bent around its existence, and it was sleeping beneath Blackthorn Hollow. Hundreds of scholars surrounded it. Doctors, priests, nobles, hunters, all kneeling, all worshipping, all drinking sacred blood from golden chalices. Their leader stepped forward. His face was covered in eyes, dozens of them, blinking independently, watching me, smiling. The bells awakened the dream. The cavern trembled, the giant eye grew wider, and reality began to unravel. Stars appeared beneath the earth. The ceiling vanished. Gravity twisted. Colors I couldn't describe filled the darkness. For one moment, I understood. Blackthorn Hollow was never hidden. It existed between worlds, a wound in reality held open by blood and dreams. The worshippers began transforming. Their bodies unfolded like flowers made from flesh. Eyes bloomed across their skin. Limbs stretched into impossible shapes. They floated upwards towards the false stars above, towards whatever waited beyond human understanding, towards ascension. Then the giant eye looked directly at me, not through me, at me. And in that instant, it knew everything. My childhood, my fears, my grief, Abigail. The nights I spent wishing I could trade places with her, the guilt I carried, the pain I never spoke aloud. The creature saw it all, and somehow it understood. The eye blinked, and I found myself standing beside my sister. She smiled, healthy, alive, exactly as I remembered her. For one impossible moment, I wanted to stay, to accept the dream, to accept and abandon reality forever. Then Abigail spoke. "You don't belong here." The illusion shattered. The cavern collapsed around me. The bells rang louder than thunder. The giant eye screamed, and for the first time since entering Blackthorn Hollow, I ran. I don't remember reaching the surface. I don't remember escaping the city. I remember only the bells, the endless ringing, the sound of something ancient awakening, the feeling of being watched. And when I finally awoke, I was laying beside an empty road. The forest was gone, the town was gone. The cathedrals, the hunters, the bells, everything had vanished. as though Blackthorn Hollow had never existed. And every autumn, when the nights grew cold, I hear the bells again. Dong, dong, dong. Sometimes they echo from distant forests, sometimes they ring beneath my dreams, and sometimes, on the quietest nights, I swear I can hear Abigail's voice whispering from somewhere beyond the fog, warning me, waiting for me. Because deep in my heart, I know the truth. Blackthorn Hollow is still there, sleeping, dreaming, waiting for the bells to ring once more. If you enjoyed this tale of Gothic horror and Eldritch nightmares, subscribe to Dead Signal Stories for more dark legends, forgotten places, and terrifying stories lurking from just beyond the edge of reality. Also, check out the Etsy store, Dead Signal Studio. And remember, if you ever hear bells ringing in an empty forest, don't follow them.